Hey everybody, this is Jeremy with Tillett Realty and Associates. I'm going to show you how to use DotLoop to set up a listing loop for you and your sellers. So the first thing you're going to go do is go to dotloop.com. You'll go ahead and sign in with your email address and password. Alright, so once you're in, you'll see all of your past transactions or anything that you've created a loop for. But to start a new one, you're going to click on Create a Loop. So click on that, and you're going to name your loop. I usually name the loop by the property address. So for this one, we'll call this one 456 dot loop training drive. And then just click on Create a Loop. All right, so once you're in here, you've got a few different ways to bring in the documents. You can browse from documents you already have. Sometimes I will create the seller's disclosure notice on a different place and then bring that in after it's signed. Sometimes it's easier for the sellers to sign that manually rather than through DotLoop. Although DotLoop does make it easy, the sellers just have a lot of freedom with that. So sometimes, most of the time, sellers mess things up and I have to get them to fix it manually anyways, but we'll talk about that later. Another thing, the best way to get most of your forms is through the templates here that Trek and Tar already have for us. Before you mess with any of that though, you need to come down here and you need to set your role, and you also need to add the sellers to the transaction. So for your role, again, you're listing a house, so you're going to be the listing agent. And then you need to add your people. So let's say James and Rachel Tillett are going to be the sellers here. So James Tillett. And if you've already used someone like I have for the buying loop video, I had his information in here. You can actually click on theirs to auto-populate some of it. But I won't this time. But so James Tillett's a seller, email address, james@gmail.com. This time he is the seller. And you can auto-populate as much of this as you want. You can just put it in, and whatever forms it would fit for, it would auto-populate it whenever that comes up. This is more applicable on the listing side here than it would be for the buyers, because the buyer's current address doesn't really matter for a whole lot of stuff. But for the sellers, it could be of help. So I'm going to leave it blank for now, though. As long as you've got the name, the email address, because they're going to sign through that email address, and their role, because he's a seller. Anything that a seller should sign, DotLoop will automatically have him need to sign that once you fill it out. So we'll go ahead and click Add Person. You'll see James Tillett right here. He's got his email, and then he's a seller. So if the person is married or owns with another person, you're going to fill them out here as well. So we'll do Rachel Tillett. I'm going to put her email address. And role, she is a seller also. So again, you can put in as much of this information as you want, but you don't have to. So click Add Person. All right, so now you need to check and make sure that you've got all the peoples that will be a part of this transaction. So you've got Rachel Tillett, her email, James Tillett, his email. They're both sellers, and you as the listing agent. So now you're ready to bring in the forms. So some of the forms you're going to need, you're going to first need the information about brokerage services. You always need to give this to your buyers, sellers, prospective buyers and sellers at first contact. So go to Templates. This is usually in the Trek Interactive Forms section. So you can just type in information about and a couple of them come up. Here's one for a listing, and then this one is if you're representing the buyers. So since you're representing the sellers, you would use this one here. Check it, click copy, and click OK. And you can see the information about brokerage services right there. Another form you're going to need is the listing agreement. So we're going to go to add document right here, templates. We'll see which one it's in. It may be a TAR form, maybe a TREC form. If you don't know, click on one of the two and then you'll find out. So here we'll just click on TREC again. And if you're not sure what the form is called, just type in some keywords and see what pops up. So we're looking for the listing agreement. And nothing really pops up there. Right there, listing does for the IABS, but that's not the form we need. So let's click on Texas Association of Realtors, and we'll see if it's in here. So again, you can just click or type in listing, and then see what pops up. That's if you don't know the name of the form. Exclusive agency addendum to listing. You don't need that. Residential listing checklist. This is a good one to use if you need a good checklist of things to do. Residential real estate listing agreement, exclusive right to lease. So make sure that you're careful which one you put in. You're not leasing a property. We're saying that you're selling this property. So you don't need this one, even though it looks very similar. Residential real estate listing agreement, exclusive right to sell. TAR 1101, this is the one you want. So you're going to click on that, click copy, and then click OK. And then another one you will need is the seller's disclosure notice. I'll go ahead and pull it from templates, but like I said, I usually use this from zip forms. I'll fill it out, just a couple of lines that you need to in zip forms. I'll print it out and manually give it to the seller and have them check each box, because there are 100 boxes that they need to check or different things they need to write. And most of the time they're going to miss something. They're going to not check something, and then you're going to have them manually do it most of the time. Anyways, that's what I've found. So whenever I do give the seller's disclosure notice, I usually do make it in zip forms and then hand it to them manually. But since it is a form we will need, I'll go ahead and show you here. So go to templates. And then right here, seller's disclosure notice, TAR 1406. You'll click on that, check it, and then click copy. Okay. And then you've got it there. All right, so these are the forms you need to get the listing started. From here, you'll always need the information about brokerage services. Residential listing agreement, that's going to have the listing price, the listing terms, all of that. Percentage rates, that's very important. Then also you will need the seller's disclosure notice. You have got to disclose anything that your seller knows about the property, good or bad. So that's about it. Again, you need to make sure these forms are here. You need to make sure that you've got the proper people in place, and then you've got their roles and your role as well. But that's about it for the listing loop. So if you have any questions, ask, but I'll see y'all next time. Thanks a lot.